thanks for taking the time to watch this week's Oldtown short, Friendship and Forgiveness. Have you ever had a close group of friends? You know, friends that you might not see every day, but who are always there for you. Friends who you can tell anything and they won't judge you. Friends that you can share good news with and they'll always celebrate and be excited for you. But friends who will also be there when you're sad or mad or disappointed or frustrated. There is nothing better than knowing that you have people that care about you like that. But what happens if one of those friends says something and it hurts your feelings? What if you don't see eye to eye with one of them on one of today's hot topics? And what if they don't follow through on something they say they're going to? Or they do something you don't agree with, or they talk about you behind your back? Well, sometimes you might need to take a little break, a little space to take a deep breath and to calm down. But if your friends are really your friends, then you need to talk. You need to listen. You need to let go. You need to forgive. And you need to love them no matter what, because they're your friends. Folks, I have some important information to share with you, but I'm going to whisper it because it's something that not everyone knows. Are you ready? We all make mistakes. We all sometimes say things that hurt our friends' feelings, whether we know it or not. We all get bossy sometimes. We get stubborn about changes. We forget to follow through on something we said that we would. Or we even talk about someone behind their back, even though we know we shouldn't. Because none of us are perfect. We're all human beings. And that is true not only with our close-knit group of friends, but it's also true with family, colleagues at work, friends at school, neighbors in your neighborhood, and yes, even with people in church. Now, we attend church to be part of a community, to walk hand in hand with others on the journey of discipleship. And some of the people that we walk with are just like us. We find that we have so much in common, it almost seems as though we're on the same wavelength. It's like we're soul sisters and brothers. But then there are others that are quite different. And we may not see the world through the same lens as they do, or feel as connected to them as we do to others. But that's okay. Actually, it's more than okay, because that's an important part of the experience. Because out in the world, we face all kinds of people, and it's our job, if we're going to truly follow in the footsteps of Jesus, to remember that each and every one of them is a brother or sister and has been made in the image of God, just like us. Now, sometimes in our faith, we lead, and sometimes we follow. But it's being part of a community that helps us to practice living out our faith and treating others as Jesus has taught us. And friends, I'll be honest, as you all know, some days it's easy when everyone's being kind and working together, and other days it can be quite challenging. But no matter what, we are called to love our neighbors and to help our friends, no matter who our neighbors and friends are, and no matter what they've said or done. There's a story about a man who was quite sick. Actually, he was paralyzed and couldn't walk. His friends had heard that Jesus was in town, and they knew in their hearts that Jesus could heal him. So they carried him to the house where Jesus was. When they got there, they found a crowd of people. So it was so crowded that they had to climb up onto the roof of the house. and lower their friend down through the tiles to get him to Jesus. Can you imagine the faith they must have had in Jesus and the love and dedication that they had for their friend? The friends, being people of faith, couldn't heal their friend themselves, but they did know that they could bring him to a place of possibility. Without the faith of his friends, the paralyzed man wouldn't have had a chance of being healed because he would never have encountered Jesus. Now, as the man is being lowered down through the roof, I always imagine that Jesus begins to smile because he sees the faith of the four friends. But Jesus then speaks to the paralyzed man. Friend, your sins are forgiven. What? He's paralyzed. Why would Jesus forgive his sins? Well, folks, this is where all the trouble starts. Because in the crowd that day, there were many Pharisees and scribes, meaning religious leaders and lawyers or people who knew the law. And they were there that day watching every move that Jesus made. Honestly, some of them were hoping to catch Jesus doing something that he shouldn't. Well, just as everyone was surprised by the lowering down of this paralyzed man, they were just as surprised at Jesus' comments about sin. Some of the Pharisees and scribes who were sitting there began to question in their hearts, "Who is this that speaks such blasphemy? Who can forgive sins but God alone?" Well, regardless of the reason for the man's condition, we are told that Jesus both forgives and heals him. And that moment of healing is the evidence or the proof of Jesus' power and authority, not only to heal, but to forgive sins. Okay, so Jesus is proving a point to the Pharisees and the scribes, but all this talk of healing and forgiving, what does it really mean to us? Well, sometimes it's hard for us to determine whether we need healing or forgiveness or both. The truth is, many of us become emotionally and spiritually paralyzed or stuck because of a need to forgive and to let go of hurtful comments or disappointments or judgments of others. Because when we hold on to those things, we're not only unable to move forward in our faith, but also in our relationships with friends, family, colleagues, neighbors, and even other church members. Folks, life is too short to hold on to grudges. And our call to love and serve others is a full-time job. We don't have time to point fingers and to blame, to gossip and to hold secret parking lot conversations to talk about people we disagree with. It's time to let go of our resentments and our disappointments, to forgive and to move on, because that's the only way that we can truly begin to live lives of joy and peace, bringing healing and wholeness to ourselves, to the church, and to the world around us.